Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webcast. I'm Brian Anderson, Managing Editor of Demand Gen Report, and I'll be your moderator for today. Really appreciate everyone taking the time to join us, and we have a great session in store. Company strategies still rely heavily on the stakeholders making the purchase decision, so taking a person-based approach with tactics such as advertising, display advertising, is growing ever more important. I look forward to jumping in, so let's get started. We're going to go through a few housekeeping slides here. Firstly, for those of you who are new to Demand Gen Report, welcome. We truly are happy to have you here. A bit of info about us. Demand Gen Report is an online publication that covers all the news and trends relevant to B2B marketing and sales professionals. Along with producing breaking news articles and feature-length trend pieces, we produce a variety of other content, including benchmark research, in-depth reports, and more. If you haven't done so already, join our community of 65,000 B2B marketing pros by subscribing to Demand Gen Report today. Also want to ensure everyone on the line today saves the date for our annual B2B Marketing Exchange taking place this upcoming February in Scottsdale, Arizona. Go ahead to b2bmx.co to get more information about the event and sign up for updates as we announce speakers, session topics, and more. It's definitely an event you don't want to miss. By attending today's session, you've been entered into today's drawing for our SPS 19 prize pack. Throughout the series, we're hosting a variety of sweepstakes where attendees have a chance to win some pretty awesome prizes, such as a Withings Move hybrid smartwatch, an Xbox One S, Apple AirPods, and as always, passes to our annual B2BMX event this February. Today's presentation is hosted on the On24 platform. During the presentation, you can access all the info you need from the platform toolbar. Please join the social discussion on both Twitter and LinkedIn using the hashtag SPS19. You can also see here that you can tweet from directly within the On24 platform using the widget on the left-hand side of your screen. Also, don't be afraid to ask our presenters questions. They're full of information, and they'd be happy to share it with you. You can do so via the Q&A widget on the top right corner of the screen. Today's presentation is slated to run about 25 to 35 minutes with an additional 10 to 15 minutes for the following Q&A. You can submit questions with the Q&A widget at any time. This presentation is also being recorded, and all attendees will receive an archive link to the presentation to review or even share with your peers and colleagues. We also are always looking for feedback and suggestions for our digital events we host, so please take a moment today to take a short survey that will pop up at the end of the session. You can also take the survey at any time by clicking on that little survey icon circled here on the bottom of your screen. With that all said and done, I would like to introduce today's speakers. Dmitry Lizitsky is a co-founder and CEO of the person-based marketing solution Influ2. He's a serial entrepreneur with 20 years of hands-on experience in online marketing and advertising, with focus on personalized targeting and efficient marketing spend. Dmitry has successfully launched, managed, and advanced multiple IT-powered companies in the US and EU markets, including Bonus Tech, which was sold to the company Global Logic, and Thick Buttons. Prior to Influ2, Dmitry was the global head of delivery and services at Get. Merav Karen is a marketing director at Cato Networks, the only solution with a cloud-native convergence of networking and security. Merav has more than 10 years of strategic digital marketing experience with a proven track record in delivering digital marketing within international B2B organizations. In her current role at Cato Networks, she is responsible for executing the global digital strategy and driving engagement with customers. Merav holds an MBA and a BA in philosophy. Without further ado, I am going to pass things over to you, Dimitri. Go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Brian. Before I jump into presentation, let me quickly cover the agenda of today's session. So we will talk about high resolution ABM that you can try in 2020, and we will talk about why how it's different to traditional advertising strategy, and then we will discuss the execution part. Fundamentally, we will talk about how we define the target audience, what would be the creative strategy for person-based advertising, how we will budget, how we report the results, and then how we align marketing sales team. And then I will pass to Merav Kevin, who will speak about her experience with person-based advertising at Cato Networks. So when we think about traditional B2B advertising strategy, basically many companies use the same blueprint when you want to buy some relevant traffic. You optimize your landing pages to get as many leads as possible from this traffic, and then you launch your nurturing campaigns and pass it to sales development teams. And whatever traffic is not converting, you just pass this, you just write it off as brand awareness. And well, this is kind of standard traditional B2B advertising strategy that we see with many of our clients today. The main challenges of this approach is like they're described by two of our clients. Andrew told me once that you know what, we doubled on our budgets and we doubled our effort, and then we just improved the number of leads, but we didn't see any of enterprise leads. It was just small companies. And another client shared this insight with us in a more direct way, saying, "Hey, would you like CMO of Adobe to fill out a lead form for you? Would it work in the real life?" And the main challenge with this approach is that you're efficient with nets, and this is not what you can do if you target large enterprise accounts. And then, to address this challenge, many advanced marketers turn to account-based marketing. And we honestly believe that account-based marketing is the right way to address the problem of fishing with the net. If you think about account-based marketing, you basically the core idea is very simple. You go after specific accounts, specific companies that you want to win, and when you do this, you start from defining who is your ideal customer, and then you kind of translate it into specific roles and specific functions inside this organization, and then you basically target and launch your campaigns for this specific account, which is great. The main challenge here is that your sales team is working with people, not accounts, and then the main challenge is that marketing teams operate separately from sales teams. They don't pass a lot of information besides engagement data on the account level. When you talk about person-based advertising, the main idea behind it is very simple. You target specific people, not just companies, not just accounts. And then the second very crucial element of person-based advertising is is the idea of if we can track the interests of every person. So in traditional advertising approach, you just know people who manage to fill out lead forms, and like you really think about like 1 out of 10 people that are interested can actually fill out the lead form, and basically then you can identify them, and then you can pass them to salespeople. In person-based advertising, every interested person becomes a lead for you, and there are a lot of people who are coming to your website, reading the content, interested, but they don't reveal themselves. And basically, person-based advertising helps you to reveal this kind of opportunities. So when you think about person-based advertising applied to account-based marketing, there's a great way to connect marketing and salespeople, because you target specific people inside the accounts, the real decision makers, and then you track information on the person-by-person level, so you know who is interested, and you can pass this information to your sales team, which makes marketing and sales team alignment perfect. So now we will talk about the blueprint of person-based advertising strategy, how you define, how you create, how you budget, how you measure, and then how you leverage this strategy in 2020. The first step is how you define target audience, and basically the fundamental idea remains the same. You have your ideal customer profile, which basically connected to your business strategy, and you can rely on the same concept. But then when you execute on this and try to transform your ideal customer profile into specific target audience, you do it differently when you apply different strategies. So when you think about traditional B2B advertising, you try to define your target audience the way you define social demographic profiles of people you want to target, and that's kind of a very broad definition. In account-based marketing, when you transform your ideal customer profile into a specific audience, you think about accounts. You think about specific companies that are relevant for you and you want to target. And then when you apply high resolution ABM person-based advertising, you basically think about specific decision makers inside those accounts. You still define accounts you want to target, but then inside this account, you ask yourself, who exactly makes the decision inside the specific company that should see your ads and where should respond to your advertising effort. And that's what we call group of decision makers, or we can call them gods. So when you think about target audience on the executional level, you basically start from the same idea of prioritization of your accounts, and then you can use known intent data companies as a data source for this. So you can use TechTarget or Bambora or any other intent data provider to help you choose the accounts you want to target, or you can just ask your salespeople that sometimes it's the best source of intent data information. And when you think about specific people, again, there are plenty of companies that provide information about target people that you can connect to the target accounts. And based on the persona that you define, you can know exactly who makes this or that decision inside this or that organization. So this is how you define your target audience when you think about high resolution account-based marketing. Speaking about creative strategy, the main learning that we basically derived from our campaigns and from the campaigns for our clients is that it's all about engagement. There's no such thing as brand awareness in the way that you can just show ads and expect people that they will know about your company and build brand awareness without actual engagement, actual response, and actual involvement in your creative materials. So there are a couple of things when you think about creative strategy. And number one is obviously you want people to click on your advertising. And clickbait, like it's a bad word probably, but there are a lot of clickbait advertising that can teach us how you can improve your CTRs, how you can improve the click-through rate, so that people will actually, respond to your advertising and will get engaged. Second, obviously, you want to serve ungated content because in person-based advertising, every person who visits your landing page, so there's no need to push people to fill out lead forms again, just to explain who is this person. You just know exactly at the moment when the person visits your landing page. So, and on the other side, gated content is what kills your engagement. What we found out also is that when you actually need to tell stories. There are lots of great content, lots of great articles, but we have very little attention span. And when you see people coming to the landing page, you really need to capture their attention and keep it. And that's where story comes in. So it's not just having like long, beautiful content. It also should be very engaging from the first paragraph, from the first title. And finally, if you build inbound strategy, your primary focus is to drive traffic to this landing page, and that creates wrong habits. SEO optimized landing page is not what you need when you think about person-based advertising, because the only audience, the only target of your person-based advertising are real decision makers, real humans, not just SEO type of algorithms. So you want to rethink the whole idea how you build your landing pages comparing to inbound marketing strategies. When it comes to budgeting, you can actually reverse. So the funnel remains to be present when you think about account-based marketing as well. So here are the numbers that we had from our sales pipeline, and you see that the conversion rates, there is some conversion rate on every stage of the funnel. And if you take 100% of accounts that engaged and scored 10 plus in our definition, then there's some percentage of accounts that converted and get to the sales calls stage. There's some percentage of them that went to onboarding stage, and some of them that became our clients. So this is our real data from the last year. So when you think about how much to budget and what results to expect, there's a very simple way to do it. Is you can actually reverse engineer and start from the number of clients you want to get, and then obviously you need to adjust it for sales cycle, and then you can go back and come up with the idea of how many accounts you want to get to 10 plus in order to convert them into real clients. So basically, this is kind of reverse engineered funnel that will help you to budget your strategy for 2020. Here's kind of complex chart that basically can serve as a blueprint for budgeting, and we can actually share this file. We'll share this with the webinar. Basically, the idea is very simple. So in order to get a specific number of MQAs and MQLs, you need to have some sizable target audience and some specific budget allocated to execute on this. And it all comes together in a very predictable way. So you can actually plan to have specific number of marketing qualified accounts and marketing qualified leads across the year, and then build your strategy from there. And we can actually help you build this out. A couple of things when you think about budgeting is obviously brand awareness builds up over time. So most of the leads will not come on the first months of your person-based advertising campaign. And like there's like repetitive visitors, repetitive engagements that give you real quality leads and quality account engagements. So it takes time to build it up. Second is MQLs. We do not defer MQL as a term for account-based marketing because fundamentally marketing qualified lead means that you have somebody inside the account who is interested to talk to your sales team or who is engaged with your content. And having one person means that you can expand it and cover more people, and then the whole account can become qualified. So basically, MQL is a leading factor to MQAs. And then you optimize around click-through rate, and obviously this is a gate to big engagement volumes, and then cost per MQL becomes much lower when you think about person-based advertising because obviously we capture interest of all people, not just those who fill out lead forms. So you can expect a much bigger volume of marketing qualified leads and marketing qualified accounts versus traditional demand generation strategies. Talking about marketing and sales alignment, it's very simple because in person-based advertising, you target specific people, you get information about those engagements on the personal level, and then you can pass this information to salespeople directly. So you know exactly, it's not just the account that got some engagement score, but also specific people that got some engagement score, and then you know exactly who to talk to inside your target organization, who will be open to have conversation with your sales team, and this is the information we can pass to Salesforce or to Outreach, to any marketing automation software. And the second element of marketing and sales alignment is the fact that because we track impressions and clicks and engagement on the person-by-person level, we can provide this information to your sales team, and then this is it's absolutely useful information for them because they know what was interesting for this person, what content this person engaged with, and this is a very good starting point to send a meaningful email or have a conversation around this topic. Speaking about reporting and optimizing your campaigns, obviously you monitor click-through rates and optimize around engagements, and you adjust messaging creatives the way you would do it in any traditional advertising. There's nothing unusual here. And then because you monitor engagements on the person-by-person level, you can also adjust your target audience based on the previous engagement history, and then we can optimize your target list around this as well. With this, I pass the presentation to Mirav, who will speak about her experience with person-based advertising and how she applies this for Cato networks. Mirav, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dmitry. Hi, thank you so much, everybody, for having me here today. I'm going to share our own insights from using Influtu for the past almost a little over, actually, 6 months. A little bit of background. Cato Networks is a computer networking and security company. We provide the only secure and managed SD-WAN, that's software-defined wide area network service, natively built with a global reach, self-service, and agility of the cloud. Cato was founded by two successful innovators, Shlomo Kramer and Gur Schatz. And over the past 4 years, we signed up hundreds of global customers with thousands of sites. We've been, as you can see, experiencing tremendous growth, which is exciting, and also means that our goals are growing as well. As a marketer at Cato, I'm in charge of driving engagement and demand from potential customers. And when we started working with Influ2, there were a few specific challenges that stood ahead of us. We were moving upstream and targeting larger companies, so our audiences became smaller and a little more specific. We also had limited resources, which I think is always the case, but for us specifically, it wasn't just about the budget being limited, but also about the bandwidth of the team members. We're a small team, and we couldn't just table everything else that we were doing and focus all of our efforts on one new channel. Also, as larger enterprises go, there are usually more stakeholders, which makes the sales cycle longer and more complex. And lastly, we were seeing perfectly good leads kind of dying on the vine. These are leads that we identified as MQLs but didn't engage with us. They were either not responding to inbound marketing efforts or even not responding to live attempts of our reps to contact them. And this is how we are looking at our target audiences. So in this diagram, I wanted to show how we are applying a mix of account-based marketing and intent marketing in our overall strategy. So we're looking at who our target audience is at the demographic and firmographic attributes like company size, geography, revenue, even titles and seniority. And we're also combining intent, so we know when specific accounts are interested in a solution like ours. And on the second and outer circle, you can see that we're also looking at channels that we already have in place that are there in order to intercept our potential customers. Channels like email marketing, content hubs, recommended content, like Taboola, display networks, and social targeting campaigns. And we realized that we have created a list of interested ideal customers, really kind of the perfect customer list. And now we need to find a way to get to them and engage with us. We wanted to zero in on this specific list of people and really just get a sign of life from them. So the way we did that is by using top-of-funnel assets that have genuine user value. So with Influ2, we matched about 60 or 70% of our target audience, and since we already had all of the information on each member of the list, we wanted to use frictionless content. We didn't need a bottom-of-the-funnel webinar to be an indication of interest. And we also didn't need a long form with plenty of fields to fill out because the data was already there. What we did use are guides, comparisons, analyst report. Here's some examples here. And this is the kind of information that our potential buyer would be looking at anyway. With Influ2, we discovered that we needed to refresh the banners about every 2 weeks. And we also looked at the CTRs of each specific banner in order to know when it was time to remove it and start a different one. And as you can see here, there's some examples of the different CTRs of the banners. I'll just say that the exposure factor of the creative is important. So sometimes we changed the color scheme and only did just a light rewording or rephrasing of the same creative, and we saw great results again. As a benchmark, what you're looking for is a CTR of above 0.25%. That will generally produce more interactions. I wanted to talk a little bit about the results that we saw with Influ2, and I'll show a couple of lead journeys that I think are interesting. So in this case, This is a strategic account in our ABM segment. It's a large manufacturing company in the US, and we had an intent signal from this account back in February 2019. Since it was a strategic account for us, we added that account to our Influ2 campaign on April 2019. And over the course of a month, we managed to show 374 impressions to 5 relevant employees in that account. And if you can see it, the network specialist, which is the bottom row of the company, downloaded an asset via Influ2, but the more senior DM was actually the person that came to the meeting. And we also have the happy note at the end, getting the senior networking engineer who we were looking for so long back on the call. So what we can see in this journey is, I think, mostly the quick pace that things can move at. We see a conversion from MQL to QSL and to an opportunity within 3 months. So that's very quick in our industry. In this journey, this is a British services company. It was a great fit for Cato Networks, but it wasn't responding to any of our past marketing efforts. We have a lead that downloaded an asset back in January 2018. We saw multiple web visits and even an attended webinar up to November of 2018, but then it went completely cold. And some evidence here, as you can, this is from Salesforce, some desperate attempts of our reps to reach the person, and there's no answer, no answer, no answer. So on April 2019, the account was added to Influ2 campaign, and 317 impressions later, we saw some very meaningful interactions and this successful note from our sales rep, getting the prospect back and turning the account into an opportunity. In this case, I wanted to show a seemingly inactive prospect that can come back to you through this channel. If you're looking at specific prospects within Influ2 platform, this is, let me just show you. So if you're looking at specific prospects within the Influ2 platform, this is the kind of score you want to see. Most importantly, you want to act quickly when you do see such activities. And this will likely shorten the time your reps are spending trying to contact the prospects. Another way of looking at the performance is from an account-based marketing perspective. And as I've shown before, getting a few relevant people from the same company can be very valuable, because even if the decision maker is not the one downloading the asset itself, it could eventually create the interest and bring him to the table to discuss your solution. Some overall performance stats can be seen here. We reached about 9,500 leads with what I think is a staggering 400,011 impressions. And I think the bottom line is really the visits. So when you see 550 visits from, these are our most valuable segments, our most valuable leads, as you can imagine, that led to many new QSLs and eventually opportunities in pipeline. Some key takeaways. Define and redefine your target audience. Invest in enriching your focus segment. Check for those valuable leads that you just can't get to engage with you in any different way. Focus your resources on the high potential audience. It is a smaller audience, but it will likely yield better results. Get engagements. Use material that has outstanding user value. Optimize and constantly refresh your creatives to support that content. Align marketing and sales efforts by surfacing the type of engagement and content that the prospect engaged with. And lastly, respond to engagement quickly in order to speed up the sales cycle. For example, we have alerts set up on every engagement that just go up instantly as they occur. And I think that's it. I will hand it back to you. Thank you very much.
Mirav, thank you so much for your presentation. I think it is a very inspiring case of application of person-based advertising to the real-life situation. And hopefully it will inspire other companies to try it out in 2020. And we will be happy to answer questions in the coming Q&A session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dmitry and Mirav, for that great presentation. It's really interesting, the lessons learned here from taking that personalized approach to account-based advertising. It's going to be essential in 2020 and beyond, so there was a lot of great tips and takeaways here. We have a lot of great questions coming in for the Q&A, but before we get to them, here's another friendly reminder for folks on the line to please take our short survey and share your thoughts and feedback with us. This survey is going to help us create better content and digital events for you in the future. So please share your thoughts with us. With that, let's jump right into these questions here. First question I have here is from Stacy. Stacy asks, how do you suggest teams start trying to create their quote-unquote God audiences with limited time, resources, and manpower? Do either of you, Dmitry or Mirav, have any further tips to this step in the process?
Sure. So I think the easiest way to start is actually the best one. And actually you can see it from the case that Mirav presented, is when you target people that are already in your pipeline, and these are the accounts or specific people that your sales team is already talking to, and by running a campaign against those targets, you will provide immediate results and immediate help to your sales team with zero effort invested into collecting the information, because it's already there, it's already inside your CRM software. And we can just connect, pull it out from there, and run the campaign targeting these people.
Good suggestion. Mirav, do you have anything to add there?
Well, I really like the God list terminology. I'm going to use that one. I think Dmitry is absolutely right. I would add to that another kind of low-hanging fruit is looking at leads that seem to fit your MQL criteria but are just not responding in any way. Take a piece of that segment and try engaging with Influ2. Sometimes people just don't respond to email marketing, for example, but they will respond if they see something on social.
Good points there. The next question I have here is from Anthony, and it sounds like it's directed specifically at Dmitry here. He mentioned, Dmitry, that the learn from clickbait suggestion was pretty unexpected to him. He said clickbait has a pretty negative connotation in the consumer world. So how do you believe B2B marketers should be looking at this type of approach to, educating themselves about, ad content creation, that sort of thing, CTAs, and that sort of stuff?
Well, I think making a real clickbait that has this negative feeling for B2B is almost impossible or extremely hard because the topics that our clients talking about in their advertising are very technical, very specific, and that makes a very tough challenge for them because it's very hard to present your technical solution in the way that it's attractive and people want to click on it and want to actually explore it further. So actually, with this idea, I urge marketers to step outside of their comfort zone of making very nice, pleasing advertising that gives you 0.1% star, because what really happens with this type of advertising is that it's nice, it's easy to get approved by your management, no one will get annoyed, but then it largely gets unnoticed by your target audience. So you have to step out of your comfort zone, try to make it appealing, try to make it exciting for a target audience. And by the way, it's not that hard because we serve these ads to specific people that are interested in your topics. So just make it nicer, make it more exciting, more engaging, and CTR goes immediately up. So I think there are lots of things to learn from clickbait.
Excellent. Thank you, Dmitry. The next question we have is from Kristen, and this is directed to Merav, it looks like. She asks, Merav, how is your content team utilizing ad engagement to fuel future campaigns? What does that process look like within your team?
Well, thank you, Christian. That's a good question. So, as Dmitry mentioned, I think we just have a very close feedback loop together with the content team. And I think this was mentioned early on. We need to emphasize that branding is not part of this package, because we're talking about an audience that for us is kind of the perfect fit. The only thing wrong is that they don't know who we are, right? So we can't start talking to them about how great Cato Networks is. What we do start talking to them about is their challenges, pains, what they can do to be better at their job, what they can do to get better results. We have to do it in a very kind of micro copy sort of way, because it's a very quick glance at a screen when you scroll down your Facebook or Instagram. And I think since it's pretty quick, the effect is seen immediately, we can just share the feedback and try out many different options. So we do it kind of organically. There's not a process that is kind of set and very rigid, but I do see things that are performing better. And I have to say, it's not only the content team that I share the results with, it's also the design team, because those two together kind of make the difference.
Excellent. Great. Good insights there. The next question I have was for Merav, but I think Dmitry might be able to weigh in a little bit on this as well. This one is from Thomas. Thomas, can you speak a little bit more about how your team is aligning with sales through data flow between both departments? Can you speak a little bit more to what that data flow looks like, how soon the teams have access to this data, how, from a timing perspective, how instantaneous it is, that sort of thing?
Dmitry, do you want to start, or should I?
Sorry,
Merav, why don't...
sorry. Yeah, I suppose we'll direct it to you, right?
Yep, Merav, you can go first.
Okay. So aligning the marketing and sales team is always an ongoing challenge, I have to say. I always say that marketing is really working for sales, right? We need to get the food on their table. And for us, one of the biggest challenges that our pre-sales and sales team have is to get people to answer the phone or to answer an email. And since we do get the feedback instantaneously from the platform, from Influ2, so I mean, Dimitri can speak to the exact technicalities of this, but almost immediately when somebody clicks on an ad, we get it through an API to Marketo and Salesforce, and then our sales team can act on that. So we use, in addition to everything else being populated in our CRM, and marketing automation, where they can see exactly who clicked on what ad and visited which page. We also have an email alert that is generated once a click is done. And since we share the strategy with sales and they know that these are people that we're just waiting to get, even a simple click on an ad is enough to get them to kind of pounce on that lead. And the conversation between the salesperson and the prospect is also a little bit different, because this is not somebody who sat in a 60-minute long webinar and knows exactly everything about the product. So the conversation starts with the needs, with how we can solve some of the challenges that we know that this prospect is dealing with. And as Dimitri mentioned, we know exactly the topic that this person is interested in as well, most times. So we can start with that too. I hope that answers the question.
Made sense to me. Dimitri, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically the mission of our company, like the hidden mission of our company is to make the life of marketers easy. So they can easily create these amazing results and help sales team. And basically, just to add to this is when we make product decisions, we always make a decision that goes towards making it easy for marketing team to share their results with sales team. And in real life, it really means that you can easily connect your data to CRM and provide these insights directly to sales team. And again, for salespeople, it means that they don't need to go to use any other software, any other reports, anything outside of the traditional workflow. And they get this insight inside their CRM, inside their dashboards on the daily basis. So we basically try to, and person-based advertising is exactly about this. So actually, marketing team works with real people, and salespeople are working with real people, and we just pass information from one team to another team in the easiest possible way.
Excellent, excellent. Thanks for that. Fortunately, it is all the time we have for questions today. However, if your question went unanswered, we'll be sure to follow up with you via email and put you in touch with Dimitri's team. We put you in touch with Marav as well. So keep an eye out on your inbox if your question went unanswered. Thanks again to Dimitri and Marav for such a great presentation, and thank you all for attending today's session. A lot of great insights were shared, and hope you all learned a lot. Be sure to check out our next session, in which we will be learning about, from acquisition to advocacy, how to optimize engagement across the customer journey. It's definitely something you don't want to miss if you're looking to strengthen your funnel strategies here. So with that, I will say thanks again to everyone and have a great rest of the day.